Going on, everybody? It's Mike. As I lay in bed last night questioning my life and smelling soy sauce for some reason and wondering if I was having a stroke, I was like, what the hell am I going to do for a video this week? And then all of a sudden it was like the soy sauce smell just went away and I stopped having a stroke and I realized what I was going to do. You might remember a while back we did a video on The Promised Neverland, and in that video I said that Bonsai Pop is an anime channel and we're only going to be covering anime. And that's true, nothing's changed. However, when I said that, I was in a place where I wasn't reading any manga, and now I'm in a different place. I'm in a much different place. For now at least, welcome to Bonsai Pop. Today we are going to be doing a video on Slayer Kimetsu No Yaiba. This show is the newest shonen on the block, and it is my #1 pick for this current spring season. To be fair though, it doesn't have a ton of competition other than Carol and Tuesday, the Fruits Basket remake, and Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher, which, if I'm being honest, is a close second. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys yet, but I love trash anime. Unironically too, I'll pick trash anime over a masterpiece pretty much any day. It might be a legitimate problem of mine. Send help on Twitter. But anyway, Demon Slayer, it's a new show that I've been watching since the day it came out, and while there's not one thing that'll blow you away besides maybe the amazing art style, it's something that will definitely get stuck in your head just like it did with me. But I'm burying the lead here, so intro. Two things immediately grabbed me about this show before I watched it. A, the title, Demon Slayer. When I saw it, I was like, okay, this is gonna have the fighting and it's gonna have the demons. I'm a huge fan of Japanese horror and folklore. Mix that in with someone out to kill those things and I'm down. Then there was B, the cover graphic. The art looked awesome and I was just instantly in to give it a shot. Granted, this is personal stuff, but if you remember my initial issues with The Promised Neverland at face value, this should give you a little insight into what gets my goose, you know what I mean? So with my goose got, I dove in and I was pleasantly surprised, but not in the way I was expecting. I mean, at least not in all the ways I was expecting.
Rand here. This is your spoiler warning. I'm walking around in the park right now. There's some hot moms. I stopped for you guys, so watch out for the spoilers, alright? Make this count.
The animation superseded those expectations. I mean, look at this. These visual eyegasms are brought to you by UFO Table, the animation studio responsible for Fate Zero and God Eater, among many others. It's real good looking. Either way, that doesn't make or break a show. I mean, look at Black Clover. Okay, don't look at Black Clover. That's gross. Anyway, what makes Kimetsu no Yaiba for me is the setting and the characters. I want to make a note here that from a Western and especially an American viewpoint, Japanese history is fascinating. Want to talk about a culture that'll blow your mind with every twist and turn? Just pick the Japanese. Demon Slayer takes place in the Taisho era, aka July 1912 through December 1926, so arguably not that long ago. Yet, if you were to look at the show, it seems to take place a long time ago, maybe even in medieval times. However, that's explainable. First of all, the Japanese didn't modernize their clothing until Western influences really came in and changed that. But for the rest of the setting, the early 1900s were a time of huge change in Japan, particularly the Meiji era, the period which preceded the Taisho. We'll be getting into the Meiji era very soon in another video, and if you can guess why, get hyped, because I'm so hype on that. But yeah, between 1868 and the aforementioned beginning of the Taisho era, Japan went from isolationism and feudal lords to a nation ready to compete internationally on its own 2 feet. However, remember that while Edo became Tokyo and power was passed back to the emperor and an actual governing cabinet was set up, our main character Tanjiro lives in the sticks. It's important to remember that the US is an extremely new country, at least for everyone who isn't native, but that's not a now discussion. Japan, on the other hand, is a country smaller than California and about 500 miles off the coast of Korea, which is the closest connection to the Asian mainland. And it existed in general isolation for, 15,000 years. That's a long time to create a very unique worldview. In perspective, the 44 years that span the Meiji era is a very short amount of time to change that view. Hence, we find Tanjiro and his happy family making charcoal in a shack in the woods far from the rural main village. In the first episode, Tanjiro sets off to sell his coal, leaving his family behind. He's shown to be a nice boy, and that's really his character, a nice boy with a good heart and loads of compassion. On his way home, he's stopped by an old man who warns him not to cross the mountains at night because of the demons, something Tanjiro seems to think of as a ghost story, mentioning his grandmother used to tell him similar stories when he was young before she passed away. Mind you, both of these elders look to be in their 60s or beyond, people from a time past before the Meiji Restoration and Westernization of Japan. The next day, Tanjiro is on his way home and notices something is amiss. The boy is gifted with an inhuman sense of smell. That's his thing. He smells other things. And in this case, he he smells blood. He arrives home to find his entire happy family brutally slaughtered. It's a real Luke Skywalker moment, but this is anime, so we're treated to some heavy imagery instead of smoky skeletons. The only survivor is his younger sister Nezuko, unconscious, dying, and laying over the youngest sibling in a protective posture. Tanjiro grabs his sister and begins heading down the mountain back to town in a desperate attempt to save her. However, along the way, she wakes up and tries to bite its head off. During their struggle, Tanjiro's words seem to reach her, but they're interrupted by Gyo Tomioka, a swordsman from the Demon Slayer Corps who's here to get rid of Nezuko. While fighting to protect his sister, Tanjiro is beaten by Gyo and Nezuko protects his unconscious body. Now, the role of a demon slayer is simple: slay demons. All demons are the enemy. They reproduce by sharing blood and feed solely on humans. They are the scourge in the darkness. However, Nezuko is an unprecedented specimen. Not only does she not eat Tanjiro, but she protects him as well, despite being starved. Gyu spares her and sends Tanjiro on a new journey, the path to become a demon slayer. Now, episode 2 perfectly defines Tanjiro as a character. After his sister straight up kicks a demon's head off, Tanjiro is left with the decision whether or not to bash that head in with a rock to finish it. But he can't stop thinking about how much it'll suffer. His compassion is his greatest obstacle. It's also his greatest strength, but we'll learn in the future that it isn't unfounded. The path set before our protagonist is that of a demon slayer and a swordsman, as well as a practitioner of the breathing arts. First, to find a way to cure his sister, and second, to protect the innocent from demons. He trains for 2 years under the tutelage of Swordmaster Rokodaki and with aid from 2 children, Sabito and Makomo. His task is to split a boulder in 2, and in his defense, it's a big rock. But when he finally does it, Rokodaki compliments Tanjiro, who reveals he couldn't have done it without the help of Sabito and Makomo. As Tanjiro walks away, Rokodaki wonders how the boy knew the names of his dead students. And that's about when I picked up the manga. So after our Promised Neverland video, we got like 1,000 comments recommending that I read the manga. I've always been a fan of American comics since I was a kid. My dad had a huge collection from the 80s and I read them my whole childhood, and then I collected on my own as an adult. Manga, on the other hand, was sparse for me. When I was in middle school, my close friend Dave had Shonen Jump, which I checked out here and there. I read the Pokemon and Zelda manga, a good amount of Attack on Titan, and some other things, All You Need Is Kill, etc. But now I have an issue. I bought all the Promised Neverland manga out there, and then I got Shonen Jump. So far, I'm completely caught up on the Promised Neverland. I've read all 157 chapters of Demon Slayer and a lot more. Basically, I know what's gonna happen in the show, and it's all very good. But what's better is that this anime is already leaps and bounds better than the manga. I still recommend reading it, but with UFO Table on the job, there's a new visual layer added to an already awesome story of a young boy who needs to learn how and when to harden his heart. Now, in my opinion, what this series does better than any other, even Naruto, which plays into the same kind of emotional sphere, is showing the human side of evil. The social commentary of Kimetsu no Yaiba is portrayed with grace and is bundled with an outlook on humanity that is inarguably Japanese. See, the foundation of modern Western culture is built on Christianity. This is a faith which claims humans are born with sin. It is henceforth our duty to cleanse ourselves of that sin through good deeds and worship to the Lord, etc. And if you think about it, that's not a really positive basis for life. Assuming that we're naturally bad and we have to work to be good, it's kind of depressing. However, the Japanese don't think that way. They believe people are inherently good. You're born good but are capable of being corrupted by evil. This lends a feeling of sympathy towards the corrupted that we don't have over here. Obviously, I'm generalizing. I'm not calling you out specifically. Don't take that personally. But the Demon Slayers are hardened warriors whose job it is to slay the enemy, but Tanjiro's heart is soft. He's unable to see demons as pure evil, but instead as corrupted humans who are pitiable. As the series continues, we will see this fleshed out more and more, but it's important to note that the demons in this story are not pure demons, at least not in the classic sense, like they came from hell or something. They're created from humans. While they may commit evil, they have a soul locked away inside that still hurts. They need to be destroyed for the good of the world, but Tanjiro takes no pleasure in doing so. Life is like this too. Everyone has done something bad, hurt another person or creature in some way, taken a step towards a slippery slope. But this leaves us with a philosophical conundrum, which I'm interested interested in your take on. So tell me, are humans inherently evil, or are they inherently good? Obviously, evil and good are simple words we use to give face to concepts we need to uphold our societies, but they're also intrinsic and intangible parts of our nature. Here's another mind bender. Say there is a person who donates millions to children's hospitals, medical research, environmental reform, social rights efforts, but is also a serial killer. How do you judge them? How do you balance the lives of thousands against a handful? How do you balance big good against smaller but very pure evil? How can a system of justice correctly judge this hypothetical person if jailing them could lead to the death of thousands of children with cancer? While you're mulling that over, I would like to point out that my point here is that there is an inherent lack of black and white in reality. The world exists in shades of gray. Very rarely do we experience pure evil or pure good. Demon Slayer brings to light the definition in these shades as long as you take the time to look at it. I have no doubt that this will be a long, ongoing series that will bring in hordes of new fans, so do yourself a favor and jump on early, because you won't be disappointed. Also, it's got sword fighting, samurai, it looks beautiful, like just damn! I'm glad that you enjoyed this enough to watch it to the end. We are definitely going to be covering Demon Slayer again, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure that you subscribe down below and hit that bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. And if you want even more goodies from Bonsai Pop, I definitely recommend checking out our Patreon, like our ultimate lucky patron of the week, Copper Tiger. Thank you so much for being an active supporter and being on our Patreon. We super appreciate you so much. Thank you. In the meantime, why don't you check out our Twitter and our Instagram? We put a lot of work into those, and we would love to build our communities there too and have an awesome way of communicating with you guys outside of videos. And while you're doing that, why don't you watch these other videos that we have here for you? They're just as good, if not better than this one, I promise. Anyway, one last time, this is Bonsai Pop. I am Mike, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.